In this segment, I'll share a little more information on how our family acquired this property, and we'll go over our whole kitchen remodel. Hi there, I'm Holly from the Giles Frontier, and welcome back to our fixer-upper Old Florida Style. Let's talk about the kitchen. You saw the before picture. It was a little bit scary. It was a very narrow hallway. It was what I call a one-butt kitchen. You couldn't open the stove without hitting the other side. And originally, this kitchen was a U shape. You see, we took that out behind us. And there were lots of decisions to be made in here. Do we take down the wall to open it up to the little living room? Do we make a bar area where you can sit up to it? There was lots of choices that we could make. But it all came down to our budget and the buyer, what kind of buyer we're looking at, and the house itself. We're still talking about a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. We are in an established older neighborhood, obviously. A lot of the homes were built in the 1950s. There are some newer homes around here. And we got to think about those and consider that. We can't just go in and put high-end finishes everywhere and think that that's the best choice to make. A lot of times people aren't considering how you got started. I remember our first home, everything in our house was either borrowed or a hand-me-down, and our dining room table was a fold-up card table. And when you're getting started, that's really how you need to get started. So as a starter home, doing high-end granite and all those types of things was not the first choice in this particular home. Taking down walls, you have to consider the cost involved. Is it load-bearing? Is it electrical? What is it going to affect? Because we can dream about all these wonderful things we can do in this kitchen, and I'll show you some ideas that we had. But it comes down to, is it within your budget? Are you going to get the value and the investment out of it on the back end? So if you're doing this as a flip, you're doing this as a living to earn money for your family. So you have to consider all those things, chips away at your end result. So what we did in this kitchen was we decided to go with shaker cabinets. Your plain shaker cabinets, we could have had them built, we could have had them custom done. What we ended up doing was buying them pre-made and pre-built, which was a time saver. You have different choices in cabinetry, but we ended up going ahead and getting them pre-built off the shelf at your regular hardware store. And then we chose finishes for the knobs and countertop. So what we ended up doing was we did a regular laminate countertop in this particular kitchen. This would be a galley style kitchen. By not adding that cabinetry across the back and here, we're saving some space. We're saving space by making it feel bigger than it originally was. We are losing some cabinetry, but in the end, it wasn't a significant amount to make a difference in the end result. What we wanted is we wanted you to feel more open. We didn't want it closed off. And this gives you the opportunity to add personality. Now I came in here and had staged it prior. I've stolen some of the things out of here for another project already. But this gives you the opportunity to add something back here if you wanted to as a personal touch. So we have quite a number of cabinets that we think is good enough for a first-time home buyer, a starter home. We did add a new sink and all new plumbing we had to do in here. And I'll talk about the plumbing when we go to the bathroom because that was a significant amount of work that we ended up doing. Now let's talk appliances. I'll give you a tour of the appliances and end up in just a moment of the kitchen. So the appliances, we had to get rid of all the appliances that were in here. You're thinking about what's necessary. We need a stove to cook on, of course. A dishwasher is always nice. And of course, a refrigerator. Now, have you gone and seen prices of appliances these days? So considering the kitchen that we're building, spending $5,000 on appliances was not in our budget. However, there's other ways that you can get appliances for your fixer-upper, whether you're flipping it or going to live in it. There are many places that sell used appliances, so we checked into that. And there's a lot of people who go into apartment complexes that are redoing and upgrading to modern things. They pull out all the appliances, and there's people that will take those, refurbish them, fix them up, and resell them. So that's what we did. We found somebody who does that, and we were able to purchase the stove, the dishwasher, and the refrigerator, all for under $500, which was a great addition to this kitchen. They all look great. The stove is beautiful, clean, not a mark on it, usable. Same with the dishwasher. It's your basic dishwasher. There's nothing fancy about it, but it works. The refrigerator, the same way. It fits in the space. It's not a big space, so we didn't want to put a towering refrigerator in here that was in here before, sort of took over the room. So those were choices that we had to make with appliances. Those are things you're going to have to consider. So let me take you on a little spin of the kitchen. That we chose here in the kitchen is a plank vinyl. This was the best option for this home because it is built up on a crawl space. Most of the home had original hardwood floors. A lot of them were in very poor condition. We weren't able to restore them. So the kitchen we took down to the wood. There was some tile in here. Underneath that was linoleum. We ripped all that out. Because of the waviness and different things, we decided that the plank was going to give us the best option, was going to help us with that, be able to cover up those flaws and still give a beautiful floor. So let's talk a little bit more about the kitchen. So this wall right here faces the small little living room that you come into from the front door. So one option we tossed around was actually cutting this wall down, cutting it across the top of where the stove would be, and creating a little bar area where you could open this up with lots of light and maybe have a few stools back there, because there wasn't an area for a dining table necessarily. So that option would have cut out all of these top cabinets. We would have been sacrificing a lot for that open space. It might be worth it, but we really had to talk about it and see what we could do. So then we considered half the wall above the stove. How could we make that work? That would involve walls, more construction, and adding more time to our timeline. Our last option we discussed was cutting it off here at the end of the stove, getting rid of this particular counter, which would give you a wide open space. So when you open the front door, clear view of the kitchen, which for some might be good, maybe some not, and having that open space, or maybe even a little section of sitting area right here. In the end, we talked about all those different options and our timeline, and given what we got into in the bathroom and underneath the house, we decided not to invest our time and money in taking down this wall. In the end, it would have left us with very little cabinetry, and it wasn't worth the extra investment on our end into this home. Now, another thing we had to contend with is this archway here behind me. In the original photos that I'll show you if you haven't seen, there was a third bedroom, and the entrance to that bedroom was here at this archway. When we first looked at the house, we knew that was not a great idea. You don't want to walk right into your kitchen or have to get to your bedroom from right next to the refrigerator, well, in case you were hungry. Anyway, our decisions later on took out that third bedroom. So we originally had decided we were going to close off this area and create a bedroom door on the other side where the wall was. So we had lots of options. Now these arches in this old house really give it character, almost a Spanish feel. And we didn't want to get rid of it altogether. Some suggestions were that we wall it up on the other side and create almost a pantry. We would have taken a smaller upper cabinet and put it down below, if you can see right here. We would have put a cabinet with doors down here, created a countertop space, and possibly did a mosaic tile of some kind in the background. That would have given us a really cute feature in this kitchen. It would have added just more cuteness to this old style home. In the end, we changed the architecture plan of this house. So we ended up leaving our archway open. So when you're first doing a flip to buy or sell, it might go through several changes on what you're actually going to do before the work begins. And you want to consider all those things. So my husband and I balance each other out because I have a tendency to want to just do it. Let's do this. We're going to take down walls and we're going to blow it out and we're going to do all this. And my husband's like, hold on a minute. Let's just look at the situation. And in the end, we ended up doing a lot of things opposite as what we thought we were originally. So be flexible. I think that's the number one thing advice I have is be flexible in your plans, flexible in your ideas. Because flipping can be exciting and it can be scary. It can be an opportunity to let your creativity flow, and it can also become a money pit. So all those things considered. In the end, we kept the space we had, we changed, we brightened it up, we added new lighting, simple on the countertop, simple on the cabinetry, and I think we nailed it for the style of the home that we have. We kept the arch, which now goes into what could be a dining area. So we kept the creative structure of the home intact with very little money invested. Join us next time where we're going to talk about the living room and dining room combination and why we took out the third bedroom.